2017 work session order. Mr. Clerk, please call roll.
Dominic,
Present.
Johnson, Jackson,
Lynn, Bowman,
Bowman,
Cawthorn,
present.
Gage Watts, Middleton, Atkins, Chavez, Smith, Lewis Johnson. We have a quorum, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll have our invocation by Vice President Dominic and Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind, Commissioner Gage Watts.
All about this. Dear Lord, just thank you for allowing us to be here today. I ask and pray that you watch over and protect us and be with us, and ask that all of our residents and citizens of our parish and city and state and the world just have a wonderful and safe 4th of July, and always just remember all the wonderful things that you've done for our country to make it what it is, for our parish, for our state, for our area, dear Lord. I just pray that you'll be with our residents. I pray that you'll be with our military, especially the ones that are overseas. And I ask and pray all these wonderful things in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag and repeat in unison the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any agenda?
I didn't know. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate that,
Too bad crew.
Thank you. Everybody's back.
Are there any agenda additions? No?
I have none, sir.
All right. Citizens' comments. Do we have any citizen comments? No? Rolling on. Let's go.
Mario.
Visitors?
It's time we move to visitors.
We have Miss Kristen Howard, Robinson Rescue. Please come forward. I'm not talking to anybody, but you know, we wanted Commissioner Dominic said we had 30 minutes to be in and out today, so I'm not talking to anybody specifically. That's what he told me.
It was Stephen gonna talk to him?
Now listen.
Well, it's tough because this is a 2-hour video.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
I'm Dr. Andrea Master Everson, the president of Robinson's Rescue, and I am here again to report exciting news about how many animals we are spaying and neutering, and that the amazing thing is the SNP program that has formulated over the years is growing faster every day. We are doing more of these animals in low-income areas and rural areas, and we're seeing the effects. The program has grown exponentially, and it continues to grow. The problem that we're running into is if we continue at the pace that we're doing these surgeries, we're going to run out of funds for this program in September. And based on historical prevalence, the previous 2 to 3 years, we do more surgeries in the second half of the year, probably because our outreach team has more time to get into these neighborhoods. So we are doing, in 2016, we did 743 free surgeries for low-income residents of Caddo Parish. These are from your areas. I mean, these are from the inner city areas that these people would not be able to afford this service, and their animals would, in a sense, have more animals, and those animals would end up in our shelter because of the overpopulation problem. We have worked really hard to get into areas like the MLK area and Cedar Grove and Highland, and we've just been really active with our outreach team. The funding is needed, though, however, because there's no point of having this outreach team and if we have no funds for the surgeries. So far in 2017, we've done a little over 318 surgeries, and like I say, we're booked out until the end of August right now. So we're reaching the people we need to reach. I'm just a little bit concerned about the funds. So we are, of course, asking this for, budget amendment kind of to add $12,000 to this program to cover us to the end of the year so that we're able to grow and we're able to do just as much or more surgeries than we did last year. The more surgeries that we do, the less animals end up in Caddo Parish Animal Shelter and the less animals are had to be euthanized. So we really work closely with Caddo Parish Animal Shelter to make sure those intake numbers and euthanasia numbers are going in the right direction. My fear is if this program is unfortunately has to put on a halt for a couple of months, that kind of thing, that will go backwards. It's, when you have momentum and you have increases, you want to keep on going on that curve. You don't want to plateau and you don't want to go backwards. The money goes strictly to surgery. Robinson's does fund our outreach leg, so all of this,
Right.
the funds have gone strictly to the citizens and their pets. I'm just really concerned if we are having to put a halt in this program and how it could go backwards and how it would just decrease and take just as long to get back up and rolling in these neighborhoods. It's, a lot of it is the outreach, a lot of it is a social work type thing, and then making people aware and then having them trust us with their pets because they don't know what spay neuter might be, or they might have 8 and they don't think they could ever afford to do all the cats that they have running loose and running around, and we come in and we're like, yes, no, it's a good service, and we work with them and we get it done. So I think we've really proven the statistics are going in the right direction. So it's great that the demand's increasing. It really is word of mouth. We do a lot of surveys, we work with a lot of citizens to see how is it, advertising is door to door, and it's word of mouth. So when you have a quality, even though we're low cost, we provide a very high quality service, and I think that's spreading in our neighborhood. So the education, the outreach is definitely needed, but I do need the funds to do the surgery. So the other thing too that I'm really proud of is in 9 years we have not had to increase our surgical prices. So you're still getting the same amount for your dollar that you're investing in surgery wise, even though my drugs have gone up, my everything from drapes to electricity, everything, society goes up. But we have been able to cover the overhead to not have to increase those prices because we want the citizens to be able to have that. So that means it also does not have to increase the prices of investment on these free surgeries. So, we really are a vital source of this whole problem of overpopulation. We're a big piece of the puzzle, and we're here to increase the spay and neuter, and we really appreciate your support and just your partnership. So, thanks so much. And please, if there's any questions about this program, about the appropriation that we've requested, go ahead, and Kirsten and I are happy to answer it.
Yes, I see, thank you, ladies. I see Commissioner Chavez on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, President. Hey, Andrew, thanks for
Hi.
coming down. Appreciate what you guys do. Just a couple of quick questions. The average cost for somebody, if they weren't low income, to come off the streets to purchase, how much would it cost?
It's $53 for the average. So we kind of do $68 for female dogs, $58 for male dogs, $48 for female cats, and $38 for male cats. So it is very affordable, and that's a wonderful thing too. But a lot of times these people can't even, who are using this program, are definitely making less than $1,500 a month, and they can barely survive week to week. So they're very appreciative.
And then under the voucher program, does it work where the commission gives you guys a voucher and then cuts you a check for 53 or 48?
It's always been set up with kind of like more of a grant type fund where we were appropriated $35,000 for 2017, and we get the one check, and then every month we have like a billing system that reports. So when we do the appropriation report, you can see how much was spent every month on that voucher program.
Okay. Year to date, have we done these numbers, Dr. Wilson, to account for, let's say, $53 times 743? Would that equate to the $35,000 that we're giving for the grant? Would it be more? Would it be less?
Yeah, the report is not due yet.
Okay.
Right.
But
But that one is, and that, sorry.
So say the numbers he gave is more.
Okay.
Right. So in 2016, we appropriated $40,000, and then 2017, $35,000.
And the reason I'm asking is, I know Chuck Wilson had a stack about this big of vouchers at Caddo Parish Animal Shelter of people that have come and adopted dogs, but they haven't been called or followed up on to go to your location to get spay or neutered. And my request was, through Dr. Wilson, to give that stack to you guys to follow up on, because this is money for you guys, so you guys could follow up with the citizens to make sure they come in and get that process done. Has that been accomplished?
I need to check. So, you know if that's been done yet? We're in the middle of doing that process.
Do I need to drive over there and get that stack and bring it over there?
No, sir.
Okay. I mean, you guys are just missing out on funds because we can't get that to you, so please follow up with our guys to make sure that happens.
Okay. And these are the vouchers for the qualified citizens
Yes.
for income
Yes.
days?
Yes.
We don't know whether they're going to qualify for the snippet or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Certain, annual.
Chuck, could you come up?
Yeah.
This is
Different.
right.
No, we're gonna provide them a copy of the vouchers that haven't been done yet, but we don't know the income of those individuals that adopted these animals, and to qualify for the snippet is they gotta meet a certain annual.
Maybe
And
we
just-
could figure out it's like an email solution where every time somebody adopts an animal and they have qualified, they can email Robinson and Robinson can follow up with, so that we don't have to. And then you guys can get the voucher.
We gotta be careful, because that vouchers for any veterinarian service in the area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Obviously, these guys do a great job.
I agree.
Okay.
Yes.
I wanna see this maintained more efficiently for everybody.
County
Thank you,
council
Chuck.
agent.
Yeah, I think I was next.
I'm done, President.
Do we provide other funding to Robinson Rescue other than this?
So this program is for the surgeries and the rabies vaccine, and any kind of.
Do we provide other funding?
No, unless an animal that was adopted from Caddo Parish Animal Shelter that had a voucher then comes to us, then we bill the parish. So it might be, right now it's an average of at an extra $200 a month kind of thing. So that's
How do they have to?
when they adopt an animal that's not already spayed or neutered. Correct me if I'm wrong again. They get a voucher for a generic.
That's exactly what Mario was talking
What
about.
he was talking about, right? But it can't legally say Robinson's Rescue on it, any vet.
I got you.
But some people do use us, and when they use us at the end of the month, we submit the vouchers to the parish, and the parish then.
Does, you said in 2016, the snippet program, we gave y'all 40,000, but for 2017, it was 35,000.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the only questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Andrea. You mentioned 743 surgeries. Is that year to date?
No, that's just for 2016, sorry.
Okay, and I'm sorry, and then where are you currently?
We're a little over 318. That was of June 26th.
And do you all, did you all have a budgeted number of procedures for 2017?
For 2017.
Or an estimated number?
An estimate, I always like to do at least 10% more than, but overall, it's hard to budget when we knew what we were appropriated, we just want to increase it as much as possible, so.
But there's a demand side and a funding side.
Right, so the demand with the 12,000 is keeping it the same.
So you would expect to do maybe, if you're gonna increase from 743
to about,
you're expecting maybe 800 in 2017. Okay. Does that put a dent in the population?
I mean, we're still seeing a decrease in the intake and a decrease in euthanasia,
Good. Okay. Great. Thank you. I have no perspective about how many. How
Yeah,
big the
right,
population
right.
is. Thank you. I'm
It's
done.
pretty good.
Well, that's it. Thank you, ladies.
Okay.
They do a lot of
Y'all
work.
do.
I don't know if my
I'm
machine's
sorry.
working.
Commissioner,
They do.
Okay. I was just curious, this was more a question for Erica. Erica, what was the dollar amount that their funding was reduced from 2017 to 2016? I mean, 2016 to 17?
They have had an appropriation in both 15 and 16 of 40,000. We reduced it in 17 by 5,000 to 35,000.
Okay, that's it. And thank you, Erica. And then, so in the past, you've done 10% more animals than what you were paid for? Anyway, thank you very much. That's all, President.
I see nobody else. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you all. Have a great day. Happy 4th.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna change the big screens. Okay, next we move to reports, administration report.
Yes, just one brief item today. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon, Dr. Wilson.
Well, happy 4th of July to you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make an introduction at this time. Mr. Perry Johnson, would you come forward, please? Most of you all may already know Mr. Perry Johnson. Mr. Perry Johnson has been an employee with the parish for 9 years, and he's maintenance supervisor, retired from General Motors Plant for 33 years.
All right.
And he's a guy that, anytime there's an issue with General Motors Plant, we take him out there to verify what's going on. But recently, Mr. Perry was selected as the Assistant Director of Facilities and Maintenance. Mr. Mike Posh retired, and Mr. Perry was fortunate enough to be selected last week.
All right.
He's a new Assistant Director from F&M. Just wanted to bring him before you all and acknowledge that accomplishment.
Thank you very much. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That big pay bump, you can put some extra slab of ribs on it. All right.
Very good work, and that's all I have for you today, sir.
You may be a vegan.
Listening to you, Gary?
You're not a vegetarian, are you? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, Commissioners, all the concerns you all gave us last week for the various under communications, we are working on those things. Two of them we already have, some take a little longer than others, but we'll have a complete report for you, perhaps maybe on Thursday, the next work session prior to.
Yes.
That's it.
Next, we move communications committee reports.
I want to talk, but I don't know how to get.
Mine's not working.
All things have to reach.
It would work early.
We wanted to make the meeting go
Mr.
faster.
Hopkins,
Yes, that's it.
Commissioner Chavez and mines are not
Do a
working.
Call back here and tell
We
them.
did that on purpose.
You see I speak up anyway.
Commissioner Matthew Lane.
We need more kryptonite.
Dr. Wilson, on the Thursday report, will you get with Director Chuck Wilson in reference to the stack of spay and neuters that we're supposed to follow up? I think our law mandates that these dogs be spayed and neutered, and where we are as far as checking behind to make sure that these dogs are spayed and neutered.
Yes, sir.
And if that's additional income to Robinson Rescue or any other veterinarian in town, that would be great, and at the same time it would keep us from having more litters.
Right.
Thank you. That's all.
Commissioner Chavez.
Oh, no, I don't have one. Mine just doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
Oh, mine's
But
working
now
now.
it's working. Thanks, Todd.
Okay.
Told you, didn't I?
That's it. That's all I have. Chair.
Dr. Wilson, you talking
Where we at?
Valerie?
President's report. Happy 4th of July, everybody. KTVS will have their fireworks extravaganza tomorrow, so feel free to come down. Please have a safe. I think it's imperative to say that at these point in time, at days and time. Please have a safe,
Very safe.
and happy holiday. Be mindful of the curfews for popping firecrackers and all that other stuff, and make sure you're popping fireworks. And I'll have a list that I need to get to y'all of maybe we can route them up to the city of Shreveport about individuals calling wanting their grass cut, or not their grass cut, their public right of ways and stuff that have issues. I told them I would be more than happy to pass that list on for them. And that concludes my report. Please come down to KTVS Fireworks Festival. Free tomorrow.
Yay.
Commissioner Bowman and I'll be out there hanging out.
Yeah.
I believe it starts at
Oh yeah.
3 o'clock.
I think so.
I don't do stuff in the sun. That's it had to be. I got a 10 already.
I think it starts at 4 and rolls until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, it starts at 3 and rolls until late night. So come out and enjoy.
I'll be a late night.
If you'd like to. That's all I have.
We have no old business. We move to new business. Authorized introduction of ordinance number 5704-2017. Authorized parish administrator to lease certain property owned by the parish of Caddo known as Lake Hayes.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Dominic, second by Commissioner Middleton.
Lewis
Move to
Johnson.
Thursday.
Okay. I see Commissioner Gage Watts on.
I wanted to make a motion to move items 11-1, 2, 5. I'm sorry, scratch 5, 6, 7. To move to englobe all those items.
Second.
I'm going to check real quick if we take 2 off. take two off. So I make a substitute motion to englobo all of them except item number 2.
What's
You use that item number
Let's
2, you're
see.
talking about 5705?
Yeah, why don't we, can we call them by their actual numbers?
Right.
So that your
4705?
motion is to do 5704, 5706, resolution 61. Is that correct? Mr. Jackson, is that,
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you were going back to the original motion.
no, I was actually, because you said you had a
Well, my
substitute motion.
substitute is to do 5704, 5706, and I'm not sure what else was in there, go. 61, I don't know. And
That's special
was that it?
appointment, reappointment.
And then the appointment, the
The
two
reappointment.
appointments.
Which is 11.7.
Okay, yeah.
I think we're confused, because we're gonna have to say, well,
Yeah, I didn't catch the original logo.
can I say it? Okay, so you had 5704. You wanna take 5705 out.
Yeah, that's the one I want to put on.
And then Stormy had 5706 in, and then I think she had the next Facebook Live, was that what you're saying?
Number 6.
Okay, that
Number
would be
six,
the
the
authorized North Caddo appointment.
Yeah.
Yes, that's included in mine.
And that number, and number 7,
Yes.
both appointments. Okay.
7 was it?
7.
7 was included?
And 7 appointments.
Didn't you have 7 too?
So now I'm making a substitute motion.
So now you're making a substitute.
Okay, so I'd like to make a substitute motion to take 5705 out of the englobo. If I can get a second on that.
And everything else.
5705.
Okay.
Okay.
That's moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Cartron to take 5705, which is the least, off.
You get a second?
Oh, I see.
Commissioner
Oh,
Cartron,
yeah.
second.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So please vote, I see Commissioner Domingue.
Yeah, I want to talk about this introduction of ordinance number 5706. Can someone give me what we're doing on this? I mean, the question is, it says to authorize adoption and use of guidelines. And my question is, Dr. Wilson or Chuck, has anybody talked to y'all about this? What are we doing out here? And it goes back to the same thing I said before. Chuck, you better come on up.
Let me speak to Commissioner.
What are we doing? Because isn't this something that y'all run? We can't tell y'all what to do on this or not? I mean,
We already done this. We already following these guidelines.
Yeah, and part of this document has a lot of recommendations in it. And the basic guidelines, when it come out years ago, they come from the revised statutes. And it's how you house dogs and cats and everything like that. But since this basic guideline come out, you gotta be careful, because if we say that we're gonna follow this guideline, there's recommendations in these guidelines that are only supposed to be recommendations. And some of them, for example, is one of them says that every dog or cat coming into the facility will have shots provided to it. One of them says that, that every dog will have its own kennel. There'll be one dog per kennel. There's a lot of stuff in this document that we cannot support because we just don't have the facility to
Well,
do
let me
this
ask you a
stuff.
question. Whose job is that is that our job to legislate and to tell y'all what to do? Is
No.
that your
I
job?
think it's our job, sir.
Well, you just need to do it, okay? You need to do what you want to do, and let us quit telling you what to do. I'm gonna vote no on all of these because of this. We appoint you as a CEO, you need to do your job. If we don't like it, we'll get rid of you, okay?
Yes, sir.
But this is y'all's job. If y'all feel that you're doing what's right, then you need to stay up. We're doing this, and, no one has talked to y'all about this. I mean, even if it was to be talked about, this is something that should have gone to the Animal Control Committee. You shouldn't be here in front of us. So we've got several issues that we're going globo, and I'm voting no on them because of that one issue right now. I don't think it needs to come before us. I don't think it's our obligation. I don't think it's our duty to tell y'all what to do. And I'm getting tired of us commissioners trying to tell you guys what to do. We have you as a CEO, and you're the department head, and y'all need to run the show.
See Commissioner Milton, Chuck, you may not want to go.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, as Director Wilson and Administrator Wilson said a while ago, we're already following these guidelines. Now, what I'm seeing, by us not legislating it, it allows cherry picking of the ones that you choose to go by, and never mind on the ones you don't want to go by. And to me, if you legislate it, it makes it easier for you to be able to say, well, we've got to do it this way, and so let's budget for it. I appreciate what you're saying there, Mr. Dominic, but.
Well, read the chart. The chart is here.
Go ahead, Commissioner Milton.
So, there are some references to some RSs that are involved in it as it is now. But then I asked Administrator Wilson, do we have guidelines, let's just say for purchasing, just in general purchasing, okay, that Valerie and them have to go by? Are those mandated by law, the way they have to do for announcements and stuff like that?
Yes.
So if the state's already mandated they do it that way, that that's got to be that way, whether it's them or another public agency or whatsoever, then this is one that, in my opinion, also should be legislated, so it allows us to do it the way this commission, the Louisiana Animal Welfare Commission, has put it together. So we have to mandate certain things as we go by. Again, I feel like this can be cherry picked and take out the things you choose not to, and then just might as well just not have any of it. And I don't know how all this feeds in with the current. Do we have in effect a current policy and procedure manual that is being followed to the T at CPCWS?
Yes, we do, sir.
Okay. When was it last revised, or is it being rewritten as we speak?
It's was last revised in 2015, and it's being rewritten right now. And for this guidelines document, we're not cherry picking. The things that we follow out of here are from the revised statutes. There's a lot of stuff that's been recommendations, like I said, that we could never follow. And the one biggest one that is clearly we cannot have one dog per kennel. I mean, we just don't have the facilities to that. You know,
Size. We have to double the size of the facility to meet the mandate. That's why it's a recommendation. And Commissioner Middleton, I want to make you aware that the last time on May of 24, 2013, the shelter underwent an inspection based on that criteria, and we did fairly well on that. So we're already using that. And then most recently, we had the ASPCA from Louisiana on April the 20th, April the 7th, came out and did the inspection at our shelter, and they use a totally different standard, guideline for standards of care of animal shelter. And we asked them to come and give us an evaluation. So we are utilizing all of the procedures and policies that we need to ensure that we are doing an exceptional job. But we don't want to follow every word in that book because we can't do it. So you adopt something we can't do, then we'd be in violation of what we adopt. So it just didn't make sense for us to tell you that we are okay with that when we're actually not.
Okay, my understanding, 2013 is 4 years ago, as we talked. So do things get better, or could they get worse if we don't have continuing more routine inspections? My understanding, the LAWC manual suggests you have one by, it can even be by your own agency every year.
Yeah. We just had one in April the 7th of this year.
I didn't see that report.
We just got it Friday. And we told you all that the Louisiana SPCA, we invited them to come out and do an inspection. They just sent us this report dated June 22nd. So they just give us a report. So we are doing exactly what you say. We invited external folks to come and look at us, so we have some objective view other than in-house view.
They did that in April, and we just now got it in July?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
I wasn't aware of that, and I'm on the Animal Services Committee.
No, we talked about that in this meeting, that I informed you all they were coming.
Yeah.
And when they were coming.
I was
And
also,
they came and they did the report, and we just got the report.
I was also advised we have another audit that's going to be taking place soon. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's an internal audit that Ms. Bryan informed me of last week.
Okay. I'd be glad to see what happens on that. Particularly,
We share it with you. We intend to make this available to every member on the Animal Services Committee next Thursday when we meet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm trying not to interrupt anyone, but as I talk. But okay, I appreciate that. I would still like to see this to be adopted.
just for correction, that's this Thursday at the Animal Service Committee.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
That's this Thursday that the Animal Service Committee is. So I thought I heard.
I thought it was today.
No.
It's regular
Thursday.
session.
Okay,
It's
okay,
regular session.
okay, cool.
Commissioner Lewis, or do you want me to come back to you?
I'm good, Mr. President.
Okay, Commissioner Atkins.
No, I mean, I'm good to speak to it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. First of all, I appreciate Commissioner Dominique and what you were saying. And as I know in my previous background, we have SOPs, standard operating procedures that you have to follow completely. And then you have the guidelines, which should not be quite as stringent, but still they are guidelines, so I understand your concern there. But I very much appreciate what you said, because my position would be, where are you on this? And I would be inclined to support you where you are on it. But I would like to take that one step further, and that not only do I appreciate what you said, Commissioner Dominic, I'd like to see us take that approach with most of the issues that come before us. And then we have issues that are public information or legal or finance or that type that we rule on, when we have those other people who really are more capable or more responsible, or that's their role for the most part. So I very much appreciate what you're saying. I agree. I think that would be a good rule. I think that it would help. It would yield the better outcome on those issues. So I appreciate what you said there. I agree with it for this issue, and would like to see us take that approach more often on other issues as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Specifically on the animal services issue, I think this is an important issue that deserves significant conversation in committee in association with administration before we actually vote on it. So therefore, I'm not in favor of that proposal. And in addition, I feel like there's several proposals on this in Globo list that deserve some discussion. So, and I'd like to encourage us to discuss some of these issues. I don't think it's going to take us long. I think if once we get off this in Globo discussion, we'll probably move on pretty quickly. But for that reason, I'm going to be voting against the in Globo, because I feel it's necessary to discuss some of these issues. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Mackey.
Make a motion to dismantle the in Globo and vote on these items. Thank you.
Thank you.
And while I've got an opportunity to speak, I would like to say something.
What do you, let me ask you this, do you want to speak on this ordinance, 5704, because then you will be up next.
No.
Go ahead.
I wanna just say that the collective mind of the 12 of us together, unified, where we take the best ideas of each of us, I think is the clearest thinking that any of us are going to have. And I also want to I believe that it is incumbent among the 12 commissioners to make decisions on behalf of the citizens that they represent, to serve the citizens of Caddo Parish. And I can think of many scenarios where the 12 of us have voted to do something, and administration and the party and the director underneath administration have followed. Number one being with the juvenile services, where we said we will only hold, I think, 26 juveniles at any one point in time. Now, that was something that was not done from the juvenile services. That was something that was recommended to this body by an impartial audit that was given to the commission as a whole. And so we had an impartial body come in and audit us. They recommended it to the commission. The commission voted that we will only have this many youth at the juvenile detention facility, which is 1 per cell. And we voted on it, and administration carried it out. And so with that,
That's a law, thank you.
it is a law. We made it a law. We legislated. And so in legislation, administration does follow. And so I don't want us to think that we rubber stamp everything that comes from administration, but anything that we bring up, that any one of us bring up to the whole body, let's just critique the hell out of it. And so let's critique the hell out of everything. That's all.
Here's what we'll do. Let's vote on the motion to to undo the in Globo, and then I'll put y'all back in the queue.
There's too many motions.
Have Attorney Frazier and Rich Johnson
That's 3 motions.
to go ahead and speak on the report. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So let's vote on the undoing the Englobe. Well, that was a motion.
Yeah.
That was a motion, so this was technically the substitution that we voted on. To undo the
The
Englobe.
third substitute.
A yes undo, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it's done.
Yes, it's done.
Yes, I know.
Take them individually. We'll take them individually. That passes unanimously, 9-0. Okay, so
So now we're back to authorized introduction of ordinance number 5704.
So Commissioner Middleton moves to adopt 5704. Commissioner Lynn, second.
I did not.
I'll
because I don't
second
even-
it.
Okay.
I think it was initially moved by me.
Okay.
And seconded by Commissioner
Okay.
Middleton.
Okay.
So Commissioner Johnson's district, I'm
Yes, I was
assuming you're
looking at
okay with
the-
that?
I'm very okay with it.
Okay.
I was looking at the other ordinance at that point, I apologize.
Okay. So please, if there's no addition, if y'all are, is anybody on for 5704? Okay, so please vote on 5704 for introduction. That passes 9-0.
Authorized introduction of ordinance number 5705 to authorize the parish administrator to lease certain property owned by the parish of Caddo, being the east 27 feet of lot 7, east 20 feet of lot 23, and lots 24 through 36, Belmont subdivision, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, also known as a portion of the parking lot for the former Regional Health Laboratory.
Make a motion to postpone till after.
Second.
Moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Middleton to postpone.
Who made the second, sir?
Commissioner Middleton.
Okay,
to postpone.
thank you.
And if you could, Todd, I'm not sure, because I didn't, it has District 3 on there, but I did get some calls, and I think there's some issues going, I didn't ask for it to go on, so I'm not sure.
No, it's from District 3. I looked it up, and that piece
Right.
of property
I know-
falls
yeah,
in
yeah,
3.
yeah. But I don't know who put it on the agenda, because I didn't ask.
Yeah, it came to administration.
Yeah, it was administration, but it's in District 3, so that's why it says
Okay,
District
well,
3.
if y'all could get with me,
Okay.
on whatever it is, because I got some calls, and I wasn't able to answer any questions on it. And, it was after 5, and I took a break this weekend, so if we could get together on this before the next meeting. Commissioner Lynn also shares Highland with me, so y'all can reach out to him as well, or y'all can get the both of us together to talk about it, before we go forward with that. If we could clarify who, because it just said District 3, and I didn't know what it was, so.
It came from legal administration.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay. Please vote on postpone. All right, that passes 9-0.
Authorize introduction of ordinance number 5706 to authorize adoption and use of guidelines for Louisiana Public Animal Shelters Manual for Caddo Parish Animal Shelter.
I make a motion that we move this to the Animal Service Committee.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic, second by Commissioner Atkins to move to Animal Service Committee. Now, these two are up on this particular one. So Attorney Fraser, did you want, well, I'm sorry, do you want to speak on the motion?
Just briefly, some of the stuff I said a while ago, that Commissioner Middleton, don't take this personally. I just, when you read this, and always, the first thing I read is, do we have authority? Do I, as a legislator, have the authority to do this? I think it's very questionable. And again, I say that when you're going to put things on here for us to vote on, that it's, Dr. Wilson, Chuck, the administrator, and the department head, I would think that they need to be consulted, and these questions that you were asking a while ago could have been answered beforehand. And number 2, it's always better if you can move these things to the appropriate committee, which will be Animal Service Committee. So hopefully these things will go to the Animal Service Committee. We have a very capable administrator, and y'all will be able to answer those questions and let the committee know, and hopefully they will do their job. We won't have to be voting on all this stuff. If we need to, let's bring it back up here if we legally can, and let us vote on it. But, it needs to go to the committee first. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins, did you want to speak? on
Thank you.
that?
And thank you, Commissioner Dominic. I agree with your position there, and I respect Commissioner Middleton's desire to move forward on this. I've read the guidelines over the weekend. I think they're certainly reasonable guidelines, but there may be some constraints on exactly what we can and can't do, and I would want to make sure that we get Animal Services input, Animal Services Committee input, as well as staff input into what we can and can't do. I think we certainly should, and I know we're already aspiring to meet as many of those guidelines as possible, and I encourage us to continue to do so, but we need to make sure it's feasible. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Lynn.
7 years ago, when we started looking at the ordinances for animal services, one of the very first things that was brought up by everybody was that as soon as we finished the ordinances, we would move on to policy and procedure.
Yeah.
And so here we are, we're approaching policy and procedure. I thank Commissioner Middleton for putting this on the agenda, and I appreciate everybody for sending it to Animal Services for us to look at, to come back to this body to vote on. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes, sir, thank you. Okay, I understand it's gonna go probably to Animal Services Committee, I appreciate it, but then again, as Director Wilson had told me before, that this is how he's operating it, and he never said there's exceptions to that, and that's one reason why I didn't know it was gonna be such a heated discussion type thing. We do need to get the policies and procedures, agreeing around that. I will ask the administrator on Thursday if we're gonna be able to discuss this. Todd, if you put that on the agenda, if it's okay with the president, to put that on the agenda to have further discussion. And then I would ask that administration bring to us what you see needs to be exceptions from it as it is. If it's the one per kennel or whatever, and show us the monetary effect of what it would be as far as our budget goes. Is that a fair thing? Okay, because I feel like a lot of it can be accepted, and I think some of it's not being followed. Prove me wrong if you want to, 100%, if I'm 100% wrong, if I'm not 100% right, show me where I'm not 100% right, is all I can say on that. So anyhow, thank you, Mr. President. I look forward to talking about it on Thursday. And may I suggest that we have that scheduled for 5 o'clock. Can we not suggest to go ahead and change that to immediately following the session?
That's what it says.
Well, that's what it is. It's immediately following, but
Okay, I saw
think he
another
just
day,
put
5
that
o'clock,
on.
and I didn't even know it had been changed
Yeah, well,
until I was listening to Kill Radio Friday morning.
Well, I saw it, and I think that may be for internal.
on the calendar that we use, you have to put a time, and so 5 o'clock is usually close to end of our
I
meetings.
think the note is written up on the journal.
Right.
In the note.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah. Attorney first.
Just briefly, and I would defer to the clerk on this. As far as the Animal Services Committee in the past, it was not my recollection that that committee was going to undertake policy and procedure. It's my understanding that the mandate was to revise the law. So I think the first thing, if that committee is going to look at policy and procedure, you need to formally adopt that. The second thing is, as far as the guidelines, there is a website on the Animal Welfare Commission, lawc.la.gov. And I think it would be good to familiarize yourselves with that. It is the only governing agency that's authorized to conduct shelter inspections. And it has a 2-part process where it inspects to see if the shelter is complying with the minimum standards that are legal in the revised statutes, as well as then offers recommendations to the shelters to improve their operations and work on community outreach and things like that. And so the last shelter is the last inspection rather from 2013 is the only authorized one that the shelter has had, which I think the shelter passed that inspection, and when it's time for them to be re-inspected, the Louisiana Welfare Commission will come back and re-inspect the shelter and go through those guidelines and determine that it is meeting the laws and certain standards. And what they do is they offer recommendations, I think critical, something that they would demand to be changed, something major, as well as minor things that may or may not be changed. So they have also levels even within their inspection program as to what things are mandated or not. And so it may be a good idea to either go through these guidelines or have someone come to speak on those, because since the authorizing, agency doesn't require that certain things are mandated, we might wanna be careful about requiring mandates as well.
Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Attorney Fraser, you said that that entity goes by a revised statute. What is that revised statute?
The revised statute, a lot of it is going to be, in section 14, because some of those statutes are criminal. Some of them are gonna be in the health code. So,
Title III.
All right, and the last time that that entity has come was 2014?
2013.
Can we just put on the agenda for Animal Service Committee to invite them back so we can get a test?
If they come in, I think it's a no notice inspection type deal, that they come.
Well, let's ask them to come if they haven't been here since 2013.
Well, they just came in April the 7th of this year.
Oh, I thought you
That's
said
the same.
2013 was the
Well,
last.
yeah, but Dr. Balsamo also heads up what Don was talking about in terms of enforcement. So we reached out to Dr. Balsamo. He was here a couple of months ago when we did a meeting down in the animal shelter.
Excuse me, that's November or December of last year.
Right, November
Yeah,
of
this
last year.
time
So
again.
anyway, so as a result of some ongoing public interest, we reached out and said, Dr. Balsamo, could you just hook us up with another inspection? And he said, yes, we'll let SPCA come out. We recommend you contact them. And that's what we did. So they came out in April, and we got the report.
And the report says how well did we do?
Ms. Karen will put a copy in each one of y'all's boxes. You can read it. We did fairly well. We complied. And some of the things that he put in there, preferably to have one animal per cage, is a recommendation that you need to write a check to double the size of the capacity of the facility to be able to do that. We just couldn't do it. And that's one of the things that was pointed out. Optimally, in a perfect world, we'd like to have one animal per shelter, per cage. But we're a high volume shelter. We cannot afford to do that.
So that statute that they go by the guideline, are we legally following that?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes. And we got an exceptional report based on the last inspection.
That's good.
Thanks, guys. President, that's it.
I would reserve my comments for Thursday. Appreciate Commissioner Knowles and the other conversation that has taken place. I'll reserve it for Thursday. Please vote on the motion to remand this to the Animal Service Committee for our discussion on Thursday. That passes 8-1.
Authorize Resolution 61, 2017, amend the rules and bylaws of the Caddo Parish Commission regarding order of business regarding commission meeting agendas.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Chavez, second by the chair. Please vote on the motion to introduce. That passes 8-0. 9-0.
Authorize Facebook live stream pilot program for use during commission meetings held in government chambers.
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Bowman. Please vote on the introduction. That passes 8-1.
Authorize reappointment to North Caddo Hospital, Mr. Reverend Robert Green.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Vice President Dominic, second by the chair. Mr. Reverend Green, do you want to?
No.
I just want to keep.
Do what?
I just want to keep. I see Commissioner Johnson on.
I was attempting to come in before the last vote for the
Oh, I'm sorry.
for the Facebook Live. Just staying consistent with what we talked about earlier. Just want to make sure that that Crystal is present on Thursday for discussion on that matter. Okay, but I didn't get in. So.
Okay.
I don't feel
All
bad.
the way up on the
Having
vote.
to be watching
No, it wasn't
You
you.
didn't see him in the queue. Yeah, I didn't see him in the queue. That passes 9-0.
Authorize reappointment to Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission Advisory, Mr. Billy Montgomery.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Middleton, second by Commissioner Carpenter.
Bowman.
Mr. Bowman.
Bowman.
That's coach.
I see Commissioner Lynn in the queue, I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Hopkins, was this sponsored by a commissioner to put on the agenda?
It was sent from the Sports Authority to this office, yes, sir. So that's why it has Clark, that's why it has Clark on there. It's a joint appointment. It's Shreveport, Bossier, Bossier Parish, and Caddo Parish.
And
Joint
so
appointment.
as he is a Bossier resident, we could say instead of putting a Bossier resident on there, we could put a Caddo Parish resident on there in place, correct?
Well, we can't put just, we can put the name up.
Mhm.
It has to be agreed upon by all four entities.
But we have currently, don't we have previous Commissioner John Escadade and
Yeah.
Ken Ante on that body?
That is the commission's appointment, yes. This is a joint appointment.
Right, and so whoever is put on there has to be approved by everybody, whether they live in Caddo Parish or Bossier Parish,
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I guess I don't mean to play the devil's advocate here, but I'm just asking, what happens if somebody else is put up by the body? Then what happens?
I guess it has to go back to those three other bodies.
Right, well, I'm saying, what happens if the city of Shreveport, I'm just asking hypotheticals, what happens if the city of Shreveport doesn't approve of one of the appointees, or the commission doesn't approve of one, then what? They don't get appointed?
Oh, well, I'm not gonna say that because I don't think we've ever run into that before, so.
Could y'all research it? Just
We can research it, yes, sir.
They just made
And
a
I'm not
process to
opposed to it,
start
I'm
over.
just asking.
Yes, we can research it, yes, sir.
Because you never can say never, we're not gonna
That's
always
correct.
be
Yeah.
Commissioner Down.
It's a joint appointee by the city of Shreveport, the Caddo Parish Commission, the city of Bossier, and Bossier Parish,
That's correct.
Yes, sir. I think everybody knows Coach Billy Montgomery, and that he's gonna represent our area well. He's done
Yes.
a good job. I mean, he's a legislator, and he knows the ins and outs.
I still have the floor. Did I give it up?
I don't know.
I don't think I did.
so.
I don't
Yeah,
think
you
I
have
gave
to
up the
accuse
Well,
floor.
he gave it to me.
I'm sorry.
Hey, look.
Hold on, I'll come back to you, man. I'll come
Okay.
back to you.
So, I mean, I think we need to move it on to Thursday, so my vote's gonna be to go ahead and move this to Thursday. I guess that we got a letter from the sports commission saying his appointment's up, he wants to be reappointed, something along those lines.
That's correct. That's what's attached, yes, sir.
That's all I have to say is I'm for the appointment. I think that we need to move along to get along on this issue, so. I don't know, how many appointments does Bossier have, or in Bossier Parish? How many, I don't know how many's on the board, to be honest with you.
He's probably the.
I think they got an equal number, sir. Everybody got an equal number to
Yeah.
establish.
It has to be balanced.
That's all I have.
All right, I'm sorry, Commissioner Lynn, I didn't.
Mr. Hopkins, this is my last question. And so I know that with the MPC, we have a joint appointment of Windsor Andrews, where he serves underneath the city, and the city voted him in. And then he went to the Caddo Parish Commission, and we voted to keep him on the MPC, though we could have replaced him with another person. And so are you telling me that this is not like that?
No, I'm not telling you that.
Well, then will you find that out and
Yes.
let us know for sure on Thursday?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
We vote on advancing to Thursday.
Just check it again.
That passes 9-0.
Next, we move to consent.
Move to adjourn by the chair. Second by the vice chair.